Stephen Haskell, in The Cross and Shadow, talks about the connection specifically that is made between the love of God, the plan of salvation, and the sanctuary. And there he says, in the sanctuary, the cross of Christ is the great center of the whole scheme of human redemption. Around it clusters every truth of the Bible. From it radiates light from the beginning to the end of both dispensations. Nor does it stop here. It penetrates the great beyond and gives the child of faith a glimpse of the glories of the future eternal state. Yea, more than this, it is accomplished by the cross. The love of God is manifest to the universe. In the sanctuary and through the cross of Christ, the love of God is manifest to the universe. And this is why, speaking of that same group of rebellious people in the wilderness, to whom God said that He had loved them with an everlasting love, one of the very first things that He institutes into the lives of those individuals back in the wilderness was the sanctuary service. And the purpose of the sanctuary service was so that God can yet again dwell with His people. And let them make me a sanctuary that I may dwell among them. It wasn't just a command about a structure. It was about restoring a broken relationship. In other words, God wanted to ensure that His presence in the sanctuary can remain with His people even while they were yet sinners. Not even for a moment did God not have a plan of action with respect to this biggest problem that took upon the whole universe. He wanted to ensure that even though sin was present and He was separating us from Him because He's a holy God, a plan of salvation could be put in place where Christ could come in, step in as a mediator between God and man and ensure that the presence of God can continue to be there with His people. And here's the sanctuary. The sanctuary was made of different apartments, and we talked about that. And within these different apartments and sections, there were different vessels. Now, if you think about it, how many different materials were used in that sanctuary in order for this sanctuary to be erected? We have a whole list of different things. I mean, we've got different metals. We've got gold, silver, bronze. We've got different yarn used. We've got all different kinds of hair used from different animals, goat's hair. We've got acacia wood. We've got all sorts of different oils that were part of the different vessels and apartments. Spices, different stones and precious stones. But if I were to ask you, did you know what element was found among all the vessels of the sanctuary? Well, again, it boils down to what the plan of salvation teaches us. And the answer is found here in Hebrews chapter 9, verses 19 through to 22, where the Bible says, "For when Moses had spoken every precept to all the people according to the law, he took the blood of calves and of goats with water and scarlet wool and hyssop, and sprinkled both the book and all the people, saying, This is the blood of the testament which God had enjoined unto you. Moreover, he sprinkled with blood both the tabernacle and what else? And all the vessels of the ministry." Every single vessel, every single part of the sanctuary had something in common. And it was the fact that it was sprinkled with blood. Why was it sprinkled with blood? Well, verse 22 at the end tells us why. "And almost all things are by the law purged with blood, and without shedding of blood is no remission." The sanctuary service brings to the forefront the biggest sacrifice that this universe has ever seen.